Колеги, доброго дня. Ми продовжуємо робочий.
Good afternoon. We continue our working day, and the topic of current press conference is as follows: Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization is a vehicle for promoting regional economic cooperation, and we have His Excellency Ambassador, Secretary General of the Permanent International Secretariat of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization, Mr. Michael Christides.
And thank you very much to the Center for inviting me here today in order to present you a regional international organization which is almost 25 years old, and to which the Ukraine is a founding member from the beginning, from 1992. I understand that this is perhaps not the most opportune occasion to have the visibility and the attention of the media in Ukraine, because of the governmental reshuffle that is actually taking place these days. But still, we believe it is important for the public in the Ukraine to know a bit more about this organization, to which, as I said, the Ukraine is a founding member, and which for the last 24 years is trying to promote the economic cooperation in its broadest sense between its member states and beyond. The Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization is an initiative immediately after the so-called fall of the Iron Curtain in Europe, and it responded to the need of countries to form new regional organizations in order to promote their cooperation. It started as a forum, and in 1999, when it achieved having its statute, its charter, it became a full-fledged organization. And we can say that today it is the most representative, mature, and let me say institutionally equipped organization promoting economic cooperation in the Black Sea area. We have our related bodies in the big BSEC family of organizations. The most important of them is the Parliamentary Assembly of BSEC, the PABSEC as we call it. It is the Trade and Development Bank of the Black Sea, which is headquartered in Thessaloniki in Greece. We have our own think tank, the International Center for Black Sea Studies, headquartered in Athens. And we have also the Business Council of BSEC, which is our window to private business. Its Secretariat also headquartered in Istanbul. If you look back to the activity of this family of organizations, you will see a lot of achievements, but you will also see that lately we are being halted from our main activity, which is the promotion of economic cooperation and also the promotion of concrete projects. It is not difficult to explain why. Perhaps it is because after 25, 24 years, there is a need for changes in our organization, and the Permanent International Secretariat, PERMIS as we call it, which I have the honor to head as Secretary General, has initiated a procedure in order to bring these changes about. We have to be more effective, we have to be more efficient, we need more funds for projects from our member states. And various other changes, either in the statute or just changes in the way we are performing, should take place in order to have BSIC updated and being able to respond to the necessities of today and to the expectations of its member states. There is no doubt that the developments, recent developments in the Black Sea region are leaving a heavy shadow on our activities also. As you know, we have member states who do not even maintain diplomatic relations among themselves, or other member states which have acute bilateral problems between themselves. Ukraine is one example in its relationship with the Russian Federation. So we do not want to hide behind our fingers. All these problems, serious problems, cast a shadow on the quality and quantity of our activity. And of course, we do not overestimate the ability of BSIC to find solutions to these problems. Why? Because this is an organization mainly dealing with economic issues and not with political issues. That means that the fora and the procedures in order to settle disputes, bilateral or others, are different from the framework of the BSIC family of organizations. But I believe that in these difficult times, the mere presence and activity of BSIC makes this organization more valuable, because we function as an initial mechanism of confidence building. We function as an open window for dialogue and understanding. And in order to find the necessary solutions to the existing problems, we need to establish the right climate. And this is where I believe BSIC is very important. We have started an initiative, as I said before, not only for changes, structural changes, and changes in the way BSIC is performing, but also in the way to become more project-oriented. Since our member states do not provide us the funds that they used to provide in the past in order to formulate and implement concrete projects, we are trying to find means and ways to do so without these funds, by cooperating with private or other state entities in our member states, but also outside our member states, in order to be able to promote, to present to our members concrete projects in various sectors like transport, energy, health, tourism, culture, you name it. So we hope that we will have the understanding of all our member states in order to achieve these changes, become more efficient, more productive, and inaugurate a period where the BSIC organization will be actually involved and will promote concrete projects in all the fields that I mentioned before, projects that will be of benefit to all our member states, and if not to all our member states, to the greatest possible number of member states. I do not want to go further into this brief introduction. I would be glad to respond, if I can, to any questions you might have, because I believe that eventually a dialogue between us will be perhaps more informative than just the mere words of me. So I thank you very much for your presence. I thank you very much for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity to talk about the Black Sea Economic Organization. I am very glad that I will have the opportunity to talk about all these issues with many representatives of ministries here in Kiev. We already had a very interesting meeting with the head of the Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Relations and members of this committee, and I'm looking forward to meeting with deputy ministers of various ministries in the Ukraine. I am thankful to them for finding time to receive me in this politically tumultuous occasion in the internal political life of the Ukraine. So I'm open to any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Christides. Dear colleagues, are there any questions here?
Dear colleagues, you are welcome to ask questions.
My name is Christina Shamlakin at Ukraine Crisis Media Center. If you could, thank you very much for a brief introduction about your organization. If you could please name any examples of the projects that you do within your organizations. And you've also named that, you also said that organizations that have, let's say, complicated relations, they also are members of this organization. If you could please say, how do those countries cooperate? That can be Ukraine, Russia, or maybe Armenia and Azerbaijan in the light of recent events. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Some of the greatest achievements of BSEC have been in the sector of transports. And one of our, or two of our pet projects, which are even the greatest projects that we have tackled, is the project for the Black Sea Ring Highway, a highway of almost 7,500 kilometers around the Black Sea, 4-lane highway. We have almost defined the route that this highway is going to take. We are now expecting to finalize the concept paper of this route and then start finding sources for funding this huge project. Another project which is more or less on the same stage level of development is the so-called Motorways of the Sea. This is a project which includes the, let us say, updating and the structuring of almost 41 ports in the Black Sea and in the Eastern Mediterranean in order to prepare them for better servicing transports among these ports, and especially transmodal transports. That is, that you have the possibility of a train wagon being rolled on a, let me say, ferry boat and taken from Constanța in Romania to Batumi in Georgia, or from a Bulgarian port to an Ukrainian port, and so on. We have also had great success in streamlining some of the bureaucratic procedures concerning border crossings among our states. And this is very important. Facilitating border crossing facilitates trade among our border states. We are cutting red tape and bureaucracy, and the results are there. Of course, as they say, the biggest room of all is the room for improvement, and there is a great room for improvement in that. Another, let me say, project where we achieved great success and we will be achieving even greater success in the future concerns energy. We have established two very important networks, the Prometheus network as it is called, and the Green Energy network, into which almost 45 entities, state or private entities of member states are taking part. And now we will be promoting concrete projects which will have to do with energy efficiency, energy conservation, the use of renewable energy sources. And we expect state entities, but also private companies from member states to take part in these projects, which will be very, very concrete projects. For instance, the first project that will be presented will be concerning the conservation of energy in old buildings in our member states. I could come up with other examples of effective cooperation in what happens, for instance, in health issues. We have a network in order to be able to address transborder epidemics. We have cooperation in order to be able to address disasters, natural or humanly provoked disasters like forest fires, like floods, and so on. We have a very good cooperation in tourism, where we are now promoting a very interesting project to establish the cultural port of the Black Sea, a institution very much like the cultural capital of Europe, as you know, that exists. So every year a port, either in the Aegean or in the Black Sea, will be named as the cultural port of the Black Sea, and there various events will be taking place in order to promote not only the cultural the identity of the port itself, but also the collective identity of the Black Sea. We are an open organization. We have a lot of memoranda of cooperation with other international organizations, and there we are providing we're hosting, let me put it like that, very interesting and important workshops, seminars, conferences, and so on. In fact, the reason I am here in Kiev is the fact that together with the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, we are organizing here in Kiev a workshop on small and medium enterprises, which will start tomorrow and go on for 3 days. So I don't want to tire you with more examples. You mentioned now, how do we manage with all the problems we have? Well, we are sitting, all of us, representatives of all member countries around the table, and we are discussing issues of practical economic interest. So I believe that in this sense, the Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization is very valuable because it establishes a dialogue pattern. we are sitting next to each other, the Armenian with the Azerbaijani, the Russian with the Turk, or the Ukrainian with the Russian, and we are discussing those issues. Of course, there is no decision or any resolution or even any project that will be implemented that goes counter to the rights and the interests of any of our member states. So if you would ask me what will happen to the Black Sea Ring Highway in what concerns, let us say, territories which are under dispute because of all the last events, then I will tell you that no action will be taken there. And no decision or resolution will be adopted that would be detrimental for the sovereign rights of the Ukraine or of any other member state.
Another question? Okay, no question. Any questions? Please.
Thank you very much for coming. Sergey Malachuk, Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. Would you say that an international community is trying to build up a new structure of economic and political ring against the Russian Federation in this case? And that's because of Crimea is a part of Black Sea, and it's now it's highly militarized at the moment. Would it be, in this connection, a military ring as well, just to oppose the Russian aggression in this area? Thank you.
Well, first of all, let me say I didn't in any of my words say that we are building up something against the Russian Federation. We are not building anything against any of our member states. In fact, what we are trying to do is involve all of our member states in a sincere and friendly dialogue. Sometimes it's not possible, and we very well understand that. There are other fora and there are other diplomatic procedures, international diplomatic procedures, in which or through which the international community is trying to reach solutions to the problems you mentioned and to the other problems that exist and you did not mention. BISEC is not and cannot be a forum for this kind of activity, because this is a intergovernmental organization trying to promote economic cooperation among its states. And this is not a small deed, because I'm sure you understand that there is nothing economic that does not have a very distinct political dimension, and vice versa. Almost every political issue has a very distinct economic dimension also. We are aware of this fact. That's why we believe that if we can establish a pattern for economic cooperation, this is conducive to the establishment of an environment, of a climate, where finding the political solutions to the problems is most important. This is the value, the added value of the Black Sea economic cooperation. We cannot find solutions to the Crimean issue or to the issue of Nagorno-Karabakh. There is no doubt in that. And we are not, how can I say, established, we are not founded in order to tackle those issues. We want to be effective and efficient in promoting mutually beneficial projects, economic projects in all fields that I mentioned for all our member states.
Thank you, Mr. Christides. At this point, we have to finish the press conference as another press briefing is coming in a few minutes. Thank you for coming and looking forward to seeing you here in the nearest future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Колеги, наступний брифінг за кілька хвилин.
The next briefing will be in some minutes.